it's Nikki. Welcome back to my channel. Today I am here with a super exciting video. I feel like I say that every time I film, but this one actually is an exciting video. I'm going to be talking about my experience with SEV laser hair removal, which all my friends know that I have been obsessed with this ever since I started getting laser, and I'm trying to convince everyone that I know to get it done because I love it. But I decided I wanted to film a review video about it. I'm not being, paid or sponsored in any way to talk about this. I just really enjoyed my experience with SEV, so I wanted to share it with you guys. Before I jump in, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. If you're signed into your Gmail, you automatically have a YouTube account, so you can just subscribe, and then that way you'll see my videos come up when I post. Leave me a comment below if you want to say hi, and follow me on Instagram. There's my little to-do list for you. Okay, I'm going to start by jumping into the video. Let's go. So just to give you a little bit of background on why I even wanted to do laser, I've done a little bit of everything, waxing, sugaring. Just to let you know, my treatment areas that I got were my armpits and my vagine, so I did like a full Brazilian, as well as my armpits. So I have done waxing, like I said, sugaring, a little bit of everything, shaving, obviously. And I had a good friend who was my roommate in college. She actually did laser and loved it. And I just remember her armpits always looked so good, and she never had to shave them. And I hate the look of like stubbly armpits on myself. So I was like, maybe I'll give this a try, but it was always too expensive and I just like never really thought about it. But what I actually ended up doing was getting a Groupon for SEV. So I know they're always running promotions. When I'm filming this video now, I just looked, and it's about $200 for one large treatment area, which somehow for me, the large treatment area package translated to underarms and bikini, but it could change for you guys, so check in to see which is the best package to buy. But that's for 6 different sessions for both of those areas, so it was a great deal. Every time I went, I did still tip the, I guess it would be an esthetician that did the treatment, obviously, but it was super discounted. I believe without using a Groupon, it would be $80 for both areas, so it definitely is a really good deal to get $200 for 6 treatments. But the reason that I wanted to go to SEV over other laser places, I have just heard more about this company. They actually just opened up one in Irvine maybe about a year or so ago, which is super close to me. The other ones are in LA. And obviously I've heard about this just because, Kylie Jenner goes there, and there's a lot of YouTubers that I follow that go there as well. But I did some research on it, and it had really great reviews, looked like a really reputable place. One of the things that was cool, and I'll talk about this a little bit later, is just the technology that they're using seems pretty advanced, and a lot of people were saying it was completely painless. So I did decide to go with SEV, especially since they had the Groupon. It was kind of a no-brainer for me. So once I got the Groupon, the first thing that I had to do was obviously call and set an appointment, which proved to be very difficult. They were super booked up when I got the Groupon, and I'm sure that they're always really busy. Every time I go in, it seems like they have a little bit of a scheduling problem. But I did have to wait I think it was like 2 months or something to schedule out my appointment, so it was kind of crazy. So make sure you guys if you're interested in doing this, that you're calling and setting an appointment, because it did take me a while to get in there, which was kind of a bummer. I'd say that's one of the major downsides about SEV specifically, is that they're just always overbooked, so it can be really difficult to set an appointment, so that's kind of a downside. Before any of the treatment or anything took place, I did have to do a couple of prep not procedures, but a couple of things to prep essentially for the procedure. So I had to, one of the things that I thought was kind of weird is I had to FaceTime with a nurse. So they want to check in and obviously make sure this is something safe for you, that you haven't had any, history of certain conditions, or that you haven't had, I think there's different things like chemical peels on your face, that you can't be taking antibiotics, you can't be out in the sun 2 weeks before or after your treatments. So they do want to obviously make sure this is something safe for you. So I had to FaceTime with a nurse, which was a little bit weird, but I only had to do that before my very first treatment, just so they could essentially clear me, since it's a medical procedure. But by the way, this is non-invasive. It's not they're cutting into your skin. They're literally using little zapping of a laser. I don't know exactly how the procedures work, so I guess I probably should have read this before I did the video. But you guys can look up and read, and I'll put some links below about more information about it. But I'm a huge wimp, so I would never do any sort of plastic surgery or anything. I mean, props to people who do it, that's totally fine, but I'm just a big weenie and I would never do that. But this is very mild and easy, so don't be stressing if you're worried about it. But essentially, yeah, I had to FaceTime with the nurse prior. I also had to be really aware of going into the sun with my treated areas. So one thing that I would definitely suggest, this has been my biggest tip to all my friends, is try and do this during the winter time. I know I'm obviously posting this in spring, so it's not ideal, but when I started my treatments, I believe it was like, gosh, March or April. So it's kind of a bummer because once you're getting treatments, you have to plan ahead of time about being in the sun and be really good about not getting those areas affected by the sun. So during summer, it's obviously when you're running around in a bikini and it's gonna be, you know, a problem if you have to make sure that you're covered up. So just keep that in mind. So as far as the actual location, like I said, they opened up one in Irvine and there are a couple in LA. I'm not entirely sure if they have them anywhere else in the country, but it was a very nice location, really small, and only a couple of different treatment rooms in there. Overall, the vibe of the interior, I'll add in a couple of photos, but it's all black and white, super chic. It's cold and kind of like feels, it's like a little intimidating when you go in there, to be honest. I think that they kind of like to upkeep the look of, you know, being very posh and high-end LA, you know, all of the celebrities go there and stuff. But the lady at the front desk was super sweet and they're really nice and helpful about making sure you know exactly what's going on. All of the ladies that I've done the treatments with were so friendly. They answer any questions that you have, want to make sure you're comfortable, and want to chat with you about your day. So super nice staff that works there. But again, I have definitely make sure you get to your appointments on time because I've waited quite a while when I was like a couple minutes late just because they have always have people in there. So it is very packed. But the cool thing is that the procedure itself takes like 15 minutes. You're in and out of there so fast once you actually go into the room. So it's super, super quick. Okay, so as far as the actual laser treatment goes, I've actually done all 6 of my sessions. I am still gonna go back probably another 1 or 2 times just to make sure it's completely the results that I want. But if I could describe this in as much detail as possible, essentially what I did was I went into the room, they kind of check up with you, make sure you know you haven't had antibiotics, haven't been in the sun, they go through this whole list of things. They do my armpits first, so essentially they give you these little goggles to put on, you lay down in this little like, it's like a doctor bed with the little paper. You lay down and they have this big giant like ray gun thing that they like point at you, and it's connected to this thing and they can turn up the strength or the weakness. And what they do that's cool is it's just a little test spot at first just to make sure that, you know, obviously it's not too strong for you. And they're really good about making sure, you know, if you feel any like major pain or heat or discomfort that you let them know. It's obviously not really supposed to be a painful procedure. I was kind of on the fence and I get a lot of like anxiety with the idea of going to get shots or going to the doctor. Like you guys, I'm telling you I'm a total wimp, but I have had Brazilian waxes before, which is pretty freaking painful. So I was told from a lot of people that this isn't that bad, but of course I was still nervous going into it. But let me just tell you guys, it is not bad at all. There are a little bit of like more sensitive points. I'm sure ladies, you know what I'm talking about. Certain areas that are just gonna be a little bit more painful than others. But essentially what they do is they like zap the little laser at your skin and it kind of goes like in patches like this. They do like a little pattern. And I'm telling you, especially my armpits, it was like boop, 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 done, boop, 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 done. Like it takes 2 seconds, I'm telling you. So even if it hurts really bad, which it doesn't, it's done in 0.5 seconds. And then afterwards you feel nothing. Like there's no burning, no stinging. It does get a little bit red afterwards, but they give you like aloe to put on. But it's so quick that it's way less painful than waxing, let me just tell you that. So as far as the way that the procedure or the laser actually feels on the skin, in my opinion, it kind of feels, I've heard people say it feels like snapping a rubber band on your skin, which I would say is pretty accurate. It kind of just feels like a little like sharp poking, but like a warm poking. But the cool thing that I was mentioning earlier about SEV is that they actually, the laser guns that they use or whatever, blow cool air onto the area, which totally helps. I would just, when I was laying there getting it done, I would just focus on the cool air part. But I'm telling you guys, it really, really does not hurt that bad, if at all. In some of the areas that were a little bit more sensitive, I would just like tense up my abs and just like wait for 5 seconds and then it was over. So it was not bad at all. But if anything, I would say it feels like just a little like poking of like a warm tip of a pen or something. It's really not that bad. Maybe kind of like a stinging feeling, but it's nothing like a waxing feeling or even like razor burn or anything. You don't have to worry about any of that. It's definitely not that bad. But obviously each time you go, they try and up the strength so that it's more effective. So obviously in some of the higher settings, or if you have a really, really low pain tolerance, it might hurt. But again, I didn't find that there were any lasting effects of pain at all after they were done, even 5 minutes after the procedure. So if you can just like kind of grin and bear it through the whole laser session, which lasts like 10 minutes, then you'll be totally fine afterwards. One thing that I did notice is if you're looking for something that's gonna take all your hair away right away so that you can be ready to go for like a, beach trip or something, that's not really how this works. From my understanding, they zap the laser all over in spots and then you can't shave for 7 to 10 days afterwards. All of that hair that they zapped falls out. And then you look really patchy, like especially with my bikini area, it's always been really patchy after the laser treatment because all of that hair falls out and then it's, nude or gone for a while and then it grows back in a little bit thinner and a little bit less. So every time you go, and I did see results the first time. I know a lot of people don't see results the first time, but I did see results the first time. The second couple, not as much, but now that I've gone 6 times, I definitely see results, and I always want to show people like, look at my armpits, they look so good. And especially my armpits, I saw a lot quicker results just because I think they can do a higher strength on my armpits. But yeah, I really have loved the results so far. I definitely want to do a couple more sessions just to make sure I get everything. But from what I've heard, once you do anywhere from 6 to 8 sessions, you are pretty much good to go. You only have to get a couple of touch-ups a year. So it's really, really cool, and it seems like a very good permanent way to get hair removal. The other thing, as far as how often I went, typically they'll schedule you out anywhere from 4 to 8 weeks in between sessions. I started off by doing every month going, and now that I'm getting a little bit further along in the process, I'm going every 8 weeks, I believe, just because I haven't felt that my hair's been growing back that quickly, so I do want to make sure it's like all grown in. So the other thing to note about the laser versus waxing that I really like is that you don't have to grow your hair out in between. So obviously with waxing, you have to have something for them to wax out, so your hair needs to grow before they can give you a wax. The nice thing about laser is that you are supposed to shave 24 hours in advance. So it's nice because even though it's not as clean of a removal as waxing, if it's summertime and you're in a bathing suit or you're wearing sleeveless tops, you can still shave and you're not going to be hindered like you would be with growing out a wax, if that makes sense. Like I said, with the Aftercare, what I noticed is that it didn't really get red. There were a couple of times when they upped the strength a little bit that I noticed some redness in my bikini area, but it was never really something that was irritated. It went down within the next day, and it wasn't anything that was like really painful like sometimes after waxing can be. But they do give you aloe to put on the area, and they tell you not to take a hot shower or go in the hot tub or work out for like 24 to 48 hours. And after you get the procedure done, that is the only time that you're not supposed to shave. One thing that I noticed when I first started getting it is that I did get really bad ingrown hairs at first, which kind of sucked pretty bad because obviously ingrown hairs are not fun for anyone. So one thing that I noticed that helped me not get the ingrowns was wait as long as possible to shave afterwards. So ideally, if you could wait like 10 or more days, or if you don't care, just don't shave at all after, because then it allows the hairs to grow and fall out and then just grow back in naturally, essentially. But definitely at least wait a full week to shave after you get the procedure done, and that'll help you not get ingrowns. Overall, I've been super happy with the results. Like I said, I did notice results the first time that I went. I have had a lot of friends who go get laser and were like, I didn't notice anything the first time, but everybody's different. I heard that it depends on the the color of your hair versus the color of your skin, and if there's a larger contrast between the two, it is more effective essentially. I don't know how accurate that is, but obviously if you have lighter hair or if you have darker skin, it may not be as effective. But again, I'm going to link everything below so you guys can read up on it yourself. This is just what I've kind of gathered from my research. But overall, I did see a really good result from it. I'm super excited to keep going back, and I'm really excited to see how these last 2 sessions go, because now I'm done with my Groupon, so I have to pay full price for it, which is annoying, but I have been seeing really great results. So I think that after another session or 2, I should be pretty in the clear, and it's so great and wonderful and just so nice that I like barely have to shave my armpits at all. And yeah. And I don't want to say everyone needs this, because everyone definitely doesn't. It's different for everyone, but do your research, check into it, because I personally love it and I've been suggesting it to all of my friends. So I really think that, especially with SEV, they are running such a great operation over there. They're super nice and helpful about everything, and it does seem like the most up-to-date, state-of-the-art technology in the industry for this. So definitely check SEV out. And if you're gonna do it, look at the Groupon, because that saved me a hell of a lot of money. Alrighty guys, so that brings me pretty much to the end of the video. I know that I had a ton of information and a lot of thoughts jumbled up in my brain here about my whole laser experience, but I'm probably leaving some stuff out. Just my mind is going a mile a minute and I have my notes, but I'm sure I left something out. So if you have any questions about my experience at all, or just lasering in general, go ahead and leave them below. But I'd really like to hear if you guys have tried lasering, what your experiences were, if you had positive ones, if you had negative ones, even leave those in the comments just so people can see, you know, kind of the full scope of people's experiences really. But yeah, I'm super excited to share that with you guys, and I hope you liked today's video. Again, follow me on Instagram, we can be friends and continue the conversation there. But other than that, that's pretty much all I got. So I hope y'all have a great day, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.